Let's go. Yeah. No, but Ben, thanks again for coming on and giving us your time today. You've actually been one of the most requested guests. So,
Really?
yeah.
Actually? No
Yeah,
way. That's
actually.
awesome. I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
No, a lot of people have been saying, get on Ben Bryant, get Ben Bryant on. So I'm really happy that we can make this work and really, really stoked to dive in to your story because you know, it's only because did mention in the mags, the Kusa just put out a video 11 days ago that was the
Yeah, yeah.
Q&A with you guys. When was
Uh,
that shot, by the way?
it was in South Carolina. Mags moved down there and he has like a condo or like
Oh,
apartment. So after we were filming like our Outer Banks video, we like ran out there and filmed that real quick. But it
nice.
was
Yeah.
fun. It was a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I like that video and I definitely watched it before this. But yeah, and there you mentioned you've been playing for 5 years, and I'd love to get a little more background on who you are as a player because some of your biggest fans might not even know your origin story. So you have been playing for 5 years, but where are you from? How old are you?
Awesome. So I'm 20 years old right now, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, but I moved a bunch growing up. So I lived pretty much Louisville. I'm in Lexington now. I go to UK. And then I lived in Northern Kentucky area and the Nashville, Franklin, Tennessee area as well.
Hmm.
So those are like where I've lived growing up, and I moved a bunch. Um, but how I found Kendama was when I was in Northern Kentucky. Basically, me and my friend were on a FaceTime call that I just met, and we're just FaceTiming and showing each other our rooms and stuff. And we both had like a black and red Konami USA half split that we had from like previous years of just like kind of getting random
Uh,
toys and whatever.
yeah.
So he had his signed by Jake Fisher since Jake lived in our area. And basically ever since then we got hooked just because we found passion for it after
Hmm.
all those years. But yeah.
Yeah. And you said, wait, so you guys were FaceTiming, you guys realized you both had the same Kanama?
Yeah, yeah. So we were
Wow.
FaceTiming, we were just doing like little room tours since we were in middle school, like eighth grade, I think. And we were like looking and we just both had the same red and black half split. And his was
Wow.
signed and then it was crazy. But yeah, that's literally what kicked it off was just
Wow.
us owning that.
Wow. So and so how did you end up getting that half split? Just randomly through like your
I'm
parents
sure it was just a
family or
present or
okay, yeah.
something. Yeah, yeah. I know
Cool.
I messed around with Kendama when I was like in elementary school for like a week and like I
Mhm.
knew what it was, and I think that's how I accumulated some of those things. So I, although I did play for a little bit in elementary school, I really like started like from to where we are now. Like that was the point that I started was eighth grade, and
Hmm.
then going to now. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I just had enough time to get that thing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's incredible. That's so funny how you guys just started Konami because you realized like, oh wait, we have the same one, and then it
I
just
know.
blew up. Is your
It's
friend
awesome.
named is your friend named Landon?
Yeah, yeah. His name's Landon.
Okay, cool. Because because remind me, what exact year did you start playing Konami? 2019 or like was it end of 2018?
It was like he knows, ironically he knows the exact time, but it was like end to start of 2019
Okay.
area.
Hmm.
um but I even have trouble trying to remember exactly what it is. Like I always have to ask him here and there like when we started because
Oh, really?
it's hard to
Wow.
keep track, but I usually every bout the border that's when I just started
Nice.
like changing the year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Makes sense. That
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, I noticed I was going back and I figured it'd be at the very, very start or very of 2019 or very end of 2018. But I looked on your so I there is yeah, I saw your edit with Landon actually, your only video on your
Oh,
Benjamin Bryan Kanama. The Craft Kanama edit. It was posted
yep,
on
that's the
22nd,
first one.
21st, 2019. And you made an edit with Landon with the Natty Craft. And
Yeah.
I noticed at the end, which by the way, I want to talk about this a little later, but the tricks we were lacing, you just said you started the basically 2019, January
Mhm.
2019, and you were lacing taps, juggles, instas, juggle back to lighthouse. That was insane for me to watch. I was like, wow, this kid, like just really progressed super fast. And but I did notice at the end of the video, you'd said follow Ben on Instagram, follow Lynn on Instagram. Ben Kanama Kensu, K. What's the significance of that?
Okay, that's all, dude. I love that you're touching on these things. So there is my stepdad. He's a big football fan, and there's a player in like I don't. I wish I knew his exact name, but it was something around of like something Kinsu, like Kendama Kinsu or something like that. So he
Hmm.
just put Kendama Kinsu, and we both like me and Landon both changed our names to that on Instagram for a while, and then eventually I was like, I was just like, I don't think anyone's gonna really retain that tag, so I just changed it to. I think I even changed it to Blubby Dama for a while, which like was a joke name that my sister made, and then eventually I got to my name now.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's some sort of really good football player named that, and then
Okay.
Wow.
we thought it'd be funny if you changed it.
Yeah. Okay. So basically just kind of a catchy name. You're like, I like this part of the name. I'm just gonna put it at the end of my tag real quick.
I know it was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought that was like your team or something, like your
Mhm.
Kendama team. I was like,
It sounds
okay.
legit.
Yeah, it sounds like, yeah, it does sound legit. It has Ken in it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
so it sounded legit. So I had to ask about that. What was the local scene like back then? So was you, Landon? Was it just you two?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Honestly, like it's been just me. Like Landon, he helps here and there. Like he helps me film and he plays Kanama and he's in it enough to know. He was at About the Border with me. Like he's in it, but like he doesn't really like go out and film on his own and
Yeah.
like do his own projects. He's just like
Mhm.
in it just because we're friends and he still has an interest in it. Um so it was literally just us two for a long time. And there was a scene prior, like Jake, like I said, he
Yeah.
lived in the area. So that's how Landon kind of knew what Kanawha was. But I moved in from Louisville, or actually, I moved in from Nashville. So I didn't really know anything about it. So it
Mhm.
was just us two. And then actually, when I started going to high school, it became a little bit of a fad again. And
Nice.
then it got kicked out again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there hasn't really been much of a scene growing up. Now, I will say at UK, there is a few different people that actually play, which I've never
Yeah.
really experienced, like people that genuinely like play. So
Yeah.
that's been pretty cool.
Yeah. I thought back in the day, I think when Jake Fisher went to the World Cup in 2015, I think he
Mm-hmm.
got maybe seventh, something along those lines, and then he brought it
Mm-hmm.
back to Kentucky and kind of raised a little bit of a scene out there. And I know he started doing birthday parties and showing up at people's
I have
places.
a cool story about that one too.
Yeah.
So in sorry to cut you off, but
No, it's good.
in high school, I moved in with a buddy senior year. Since we moved so much, and I wanted to finish at like my favorite high school, which was Covington Catholic up in Northern Kentucky. But my he was one of my best friends as well, or he is one of my best friends, and his sister had a Kendama birthday party that Jake Fisher ran like a
Wow.
long time ago. I actually have a video of it deep in my camera roll, but it's pretty cool to see that they had a video
Wow.
of Jake Fisher running that birthday party.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What?
I
Did you
know.
ever? That is pretty insane. Did you ever get to play with Jake, or was it kind of just a little bit a different time?
Yeah, I mean, since he's older, he was, I was just like far away from like,
I
him going
see.
through the grade levels.
Yeah.
Um, so I remember like once I started getting a little bit known on social media, I started talking to him, being like, "Hey, I like go to Covcath, like your old high school," and I know he loved Covcath, and he has a pretty good reputation at the school, like still because of that.
Oh, cool.
Since the little kids that he would do birthday parties now were like Covington Catholic,
Hmm?
high schoolers. Um, but I played, or sorry, I'm getting off track. I'm trying to think here. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so I missed him, and then after the couple years, I started talking to him about Covington Catholic, and
Hmm.
then I actually was like I was helping out with like the school video, like they used to do weekly news videos,
Hmm.
and then I
Hmm.
like drove out to Jake and like I filmed him a little like segment in our high school like news video,
Oh, cool.
and stuff. And then other than that, it's just hanging out at events. And we'll just talk about Covington Catholic here and there. But I never really like lived in the area with him because he went to, UK when I was at high school. And then now
Hmm.
that he's gone, I'm at UK. So it's unfortunate that like he's
Yeah.
just like one step ahead of me. But yeah, I still get to talk to him about stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it's such a. I heard that. Yeah, you mentioned Cub Cath, and then obviously you guys both went to the same high school and same college. So that's
yeah,
just yeah, interesting how that ended up working out, which is really cool. And to hear that you brought in, you actually drove out to him to film a little segment. That's nice too. I mean, that scene. It's cool that Kanama's had like its spot in that Kentucky area, which
yeah.
is really really nice.
Uh,
For for back then, when you were playing, Ben, I did touch on the fact that you were already lacing Lighthouse's Insta Flip, Insta Juggle back to Lighthouse's in that craft edit, the first one you made. You were playing with, and you say you were mainly just primarily playing with your friend Landon.
mhm.
What was the frequency of play like? Like, once you started up until so like January 2019 to November 2019, or in that first year, how many hours do you think you were playing per week?
So it was like all day, every day,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
every chance I had, like literally, like there wasn't a single day I didn't touch my Kanama nor play with it for over like 3 hours. Like it was just all day, every day. And I definitely like skipped over the fundamentals, which now definitely regret because I have so much trouble with those fundamental tricks. It's like terrible. But yeah, so I played all day every day and just like had I'd constantly watch videos online and the sweets tutorials and
Hmm.
eventually just edits and stuff, and me and Landon just kept playing with each other and we'd FaceTime and everything. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
basically what it was like for the beginning.
Yeah. And how many years did that go on for? Definitely the first year.
Oh yeah, for it went on for a long time. Now, so like I said, I moved a bunch and it was kind of hard to pick up from one area. Like, I don't know if you guys ever moved growing up, but like trying to meet new friends and stuff in a new area is always difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So kendama was like one of the only things that really stayed with me. So I would always just play kendama all the time because that's like the one thing that was able to go with me everywhere that I went.
Yeah.
Um, so it stayed for a really long time. I'd say up until like senior year, and it just went from like instead of playing all day every day to like playing half the day every other day, you know what I mean? Or like half the day every
Okay.
day. And
Yeah.
then it'd
Yeah.
be like if I'm doing something that day, like it wasn't as critical to play all day, like as
Hmm.
I got from like senior year to now. But I still play a bunch. Like I still hold it all day. At least
Yeah.
it's always in my hands or like in my room with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean it doesn't surprise me considering how skilled you got in the first in that first year, and then obviously your progression from then until now has been absolutely incredible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. And you did touch on, I was going to touch on this later, but you mentioned it. So, yeah, you did say, yeah, I skipped the fundamentals though, so I have
Yeah.
some catching up to do. And you did mention that in the Kusa Q&A video that was released recently, that you said, yeah, any trick that, you should be able to do, I just don't have. Or you said something along the lines of like triple jump and stick, triple light out slip, which,
Yep.
dude, I'm looking at that response. I'm looking at your tricks. I'm like, that's impossible. I'm like, there's just no way.
It
But
does seem impossible.
it's just, I'm like, he's lying because I mean, you're gooning, you're juggling penguin bird, you stun fast, ridiculous combos. So
Oh,
you're
thank
saying,
you.
so wait, so you're saying if like just in line, if you're like, all right, I'm gonna throw a triple light out flip in line, you're like, okay, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, legitimately. Like
Okay.
it's terrible, especially in competition scenarios. I remember like a TKO a while ago. The trick was like 3-2-1 J stick, and it wasn't insta. And then like the last was a fast hand, and like me and Lyndon Whalen were side by side doing it, and like it was so long. Like he was doing the whole list and I was doing the whole list, but that list was so like it took us so long to do that like people like were walking away from watching us like on
Mm,
stage perform. Like that's how long it took for me to
mm.
hit that.
Oh,
So like the J sticks I don't have at all. And I remember that night, Christian Frazier, a few of the Konami Say people, and like Ryan Plord and like all these people. They like lined up all their kendamas and just wanted me to hit double J stick on every single one down the
Oh,
line. And it like took me like 30 minutes to just like get it, but yeah, I don't have it at all. At all.
okay.
Even at the recent TKO, I couldn't do the final triple lighthouse flip. Like it was just a one triple lighthouse flip, and I'd always just goof on it, and then I'd get beaten by whoever it was that I was playing.
what?
So it sucks. It's very unfortunate.
What? Wait, hold on, because I've seen your I actually remember this time where you were going into Lunars a lot and you were just working on, bringing up one of your weaknesses,
Mhm.
Lunars or Lunars, and you were doing triple flips in line and stuff. So, do you think those come easier to you or?
The Lunars, yeah. I definitely like I had a big like Wyatt Bray inspired era.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
and like I did a lot of the like point five rovers like in your
Yeah.
hand. And like I wasn't good at Lunars, but I like really wanted to play like that specifically like play style with the heavy lunar lines. So I
Mm.
got decent at the lunars, but the lighthouses and the J sticks have not come very well. It's unfortunate. It really is.
That's interesting. I figured when you say fundamentals, you'd be. I guess I just wasn't expecting like triple flips specifically on J6 lighthouses. I was thinking maybe more Ken grip stuff.
Mhm.
Usually when I think fundamentals, it's more Ken grip. But yeah, do you think those are the two main things, just jumping sticks, lighthouse, or is there anything else you want
Um,
to go over?
I'd probably say, I mean, definitely on certain stall tricks, struggle, handle stall, not very good at it. I don't know if I've ever done a ring stall trick in my entire life, so
Mm.
that definitely needs to be looked at. But I'm trying to think. I mean, I know, yeah, stalls are a struggle. And then just the J sticks on my house is probably, and I've
Yeah.
gotten okay with the stilts as well. Like I've gotten better with the stilts, I
Right.
think,
Right.
but yeah, just I can't do the rest at all.
Yeah, it's just so interesting to me because I mean, especially when you said lighthouses, I was like, I've seen this dude throw triple flip to lighthouse in line like multiple times and do these things with lighthouse. Because you lace these lighthouse lines that are like push tap lighthouse, insta jug, and then like in a goon line and insta down
Mhm.
spike. I'm like, what? So it's just, yeah, hey, we all have our weaknesses, but when you say skipped over that, I mean, when you were first learning, like when you were coming up and playing every day, all day, are you are you consciously just skipping? Are you like, okay, I'm not going to touch these? Or are you just kind of your natural way of playing, and you kind of realize looking back, like, oh, I actually didn't spend a lot of time.
Mhm.
Is it more
Yeah,
like that?
I definitely like. I think I just wanted to play like the people that were making videos. So
Yeah.
obviously you
Mm.
guys, and then DUSD and like the Konami Say team, and this like I was just looking at that, and I was like wanting to get at that level. So I
Yeah.
think just subconsciously and naturally, I just gravitated towards those tricks because I came into Kendama when that was like the only thing or like one
Right.
of the higher things that were viewed. So I think just like naturally, I just gravitated to those tricks. And then now that I'm competing in the open level, and then
Hmm.
like realizing like I don't even have like half these fun, like, the
Mm.
fundamentals of these tricks. Like I can get like, when it's ever a juggle or a tap trick in those things, like I got it easy. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to like some weird like stall, like flip, you know what I mean? Like I just can't do it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we all have our own weaknesses in Kendama for sure. It just so happens that yours is jumping six and light out. Like it is. It's just what it is.
Uh,
But no, I mean, yeah, but like, the same amount of people who are good at jumping six and light houses, they're not doing any of the good tricks that you can do. Plus,
Oh,
whatever.
there's no way.
Everybody has their own weaknesses in Dama. So yeah, but yeah, that is a little bit interesting because you can do all those tricks. But hey, I mean, I'm sure if you actually spent elite like a fraction of the time
Yeah.
on jumping six and light houses that you do on any other tricks, like 10 minutes a day, you could get them down in, like way less than a week. So yeah,
well, thank you.
yeah, no.
Hopefully.
But so you did you did mention the actually I want to talk about this. So, you're going through your first year in Kendama and you did join Kusa in 2021, July 2nd, 2021, your tribe edit was announced.
Mhm.
And I looked back and I was trying to check the history of this, but I was trying to see, okay, when did Ben really get into Kusa? Like was it from day one? Was it
Mhm.
whatever was? And I'm looking at your Instagram and I noticed that this is a little before the Craft Phenomenon came out, but you went to TKO in 2019.
I did. Yeah. Me and Landa did.
Yep. And
Mm.
did you? It looks like you got. I don't know if there were prizes that you won, but you came home with like a Moo Moo Soul Collab and two Sweets Primes. One of
Yeah.
them was Prime Custom. So and back then I'm like tracking. I'm like, okay, first event. Was that your first event?
Yes, it
Nice.
was.
Were those prizes?
They were. Yeah, that event was awesome. I mean, that was the first time I ever obviously watched anyone else play kendama other
Hmm.
than me and Landon. So like just seeing like someone really good like in person playing it was like super surreal to see.
Mm.
And it was at a little like was it, like a little Mexican restaurant next to like my favorite pizza place in Lexington, which I live like
Oh,
right next to that spot now, and it's super cool just to always walk past it and be like, that's where the first event was. But yeah, so I competed in beginner, and Landon did as well. I think he got third with like a photo finish airplane. I think
Nice.
he barely won, but no one caught it. It's okay. So
Oh no.
we both like got prizes, and yeah, so I got the Moo Moo Coffee collab, which was like probably the best canal I had for a really long time.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
um and then I think I did get a few other kanamas, and then Jake Fisher was giving out a few kanamas as well since he
Mm.
won. So we gave Landon a Rolf mod, which I was mad jealous about, and it's like fresh still. Like Landon like has not even touched that like his prize bag.
Wow.
So it's pretty sick. And then Jake gave me, I think, my first ever like cushion clear kendama, and I thought
Oh,
that was
awesome.
super sick. Yeah, so those were
Yeah.
our prizes, and I was very excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like a great event, and I was looking at it like, okay, Ben came home with some goodies.
I
Ben came
know it
home
was
with some
fun. It was
prizes.
really fun.
Yeah, and so, but I tracked your Instagrams as well because you were back then. You weren't playing Koosas like strictly back then in 2019. You were playing Souls. I'm sure those suites got some love. Uh, Active Kanamas, Kanama ISRs. It wasn't until about November 2020 where you actually picked up you got a Haley Bishop mod and you got a
Yeah,
Zack
that was
mod.
it.
So,
Oh man.
so I was gonna ask you, what was the moment that actually gravitated you towards Kusa? Was it that?
So it was kind of a weird thing. I still feel super bad to this day for doing it, but do you remember Trey Vin?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
reps excuse it. Yeah, so he was one of my great or he is one of my great friends. And we would FaceTime like Instagram live like every night. And I'd stay up like till 3 a.m. doing it because of the time change from California to here.
Yeah.
So we would play every night, and he was repping Konami to say, and I just like randomly said like, should I, rep as well, just
Oh,
because to the like the little chat box that we had, and they were like, oh yeah, like you should try it, and I was like, okay, and then I guess throughout my repping or like throughout trying, like I didn't think I was nowhere like good enough to even get on the team at that point. Um, so I was just like, I'll try it, or I'll just start buying the Kanama specifically, and like through that, I kind of like gained a passion and gained a drive to rep and try to get on the team. And then through
Hmm.
that, that's when I, became bigger and bigger and then eventually got asked. So it was definitely
Wow.
a weird kickoff point. But I did buy that Haley Bischoff Pro model like when I decided that I wanted to do
Nice.
it.
Yeah.
Very interesting way to do it. But yeah.
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 That's cool. That's so basically what started off as like, should I do it? And then it turned into some and now look at where you are. You're one of the main
I know
faces.
it's crazy.
So it's just yeah, that was really cool. And to you did actually November 2020 you started repping and then like July your edit came out for the team. So I'd love to get some insight on how that worked for you. So edit comes out, you start repping November 2020, edit comes out July 2nd, 2021. How far in advance did they ask you to be on the team? What month was that? You remember?
I'm trying to think. I know I was in school when and Mags called me, which was pretty cool. So Mags called me and he was like, "Hey, like we saw that, you've been rapping really hard, and he already said that like he had his eyes on me and like they were thinking about it."
He called you
Um,
though.
yeah, so then he called
Nice.
me, and I've never talked to him my entire life. I think he actually like FaceTimed me, and I was on my online school for COVID, and he was like, "Yeah, we'd love to have you on the team," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, no way!" Like,
Yeah.
and I was extremely excited. And around that time period, actually, I was filming a beach edit, um, and I was gonna have Joe Nelson edit it. Like I don't know why, but like I asked Joe to edit my video, and he like wanted to, so I was like, okay, sick. So I filmed my beach edit, and then I sent all my clips to Joe, and he was obviously still on Chrome at the time. And then I got the call, and I had to like get my tricks back like that day, so I could just make that my tribe edit.
Hmm.
And then I think I accidentally told Joe. So I think Joe's the first person other than us
Nice.
two to know that
Wow.
happened. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Okay. And
um,
then wait, well, what month was that again?
I'm trying to think. I probably after spring break
Okay, so like maybe
time
roll.
and before summer. It was
Okay.
like the
Yeah.
last chunk of school. I wish I remembered. I really do. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. No, I'm trying to get a time frame. Yeah. So okay, so gets asked like April, May, and then gets announced July. You're making a beach edit, so I'm sure that helped to cut down the film time because you already
Oh,
clipped.
big time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's yeah, okay. So
So you were up for what? Maybe 6 months, like 6, 7, 8 months,
yeah, six
and
months.
then
Maybe. Yeah. I don't even know really. I,
yeah, it doesn't seem like it it took that long, but I remember watching you, your clips. Obviously, even in 2021, 20 tricks later was honestly iconic with the Mags mod and everything.
thanks.
I was watching that back then. I was just thinking, man, it's kind of interesting how there's this kid is just so in a league of his own just right now, and then he's not on a team yet, but he's clearly repping Kusa. And honestly, if they don't grab him, then it's going to be a really, really, I guess, a waste. I mean, there's nobody as good as this kid in the U.S. So, coming up. So I was like, oh, it's only a matter of time. And then, yeah, it literally took no time.
Yeah.
So,
But
Well,
also,
yeah.
well, we say it took no time, but it's not like when you started repping, that was the time of like Kusa was like, okay, like now he's on the ring. No,
Yeah.
like, it
Yeah.
sounds
For
like you
sure.
were on, have been playing like every single day from that point. From you're very active in the community. I think for over a year, for like a year and a half until that
mhm.
point. So all that work too. It's yeah. I just wanted to clear that up for people listening. Like, oh, okay, when I start repping, this is what. No, like Ben was obviously already starting to get known way before he started repping, and then yeah, he started and then he didn't slow down. He kept posting and putting a lot of work in. So yeah, and Nick and I actually do want to bring up some POV clips, but first of all, yeah, actually, you know what? Let's just go into those right now. So Nick and I actually have a couple POV clips we want to share with everybody. So let's just go boom, share screen. Sorry for everybody who is on the is on Spotify. All right, so first off, we have this guy. I'm gonna mute it because there's a song over it. This is the most iconic spot in my opinion, of your entire Konami journey. Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, how did
Okay.
you?
So you have the mannequin in the back. You laced a million clips here, and you moved again, right? So you don't have the spot anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I even tried. I told my mom I wanted to keep him. I named him Kevin, the mannequin, and it was like the move out day, and I thought he was in the truck, and I went down the basement just for one last time, and there he was. I'm like, Mom, no way, we're leaving him. So I have like a goodbye photo of him, but yeah.
Oh,
So this was in my Louisville house, and we had a little workout room,
yeah.
uh, and I was in the basement. So we lived here for like probably like 2 years or a year and a half at
Yeah.
that
Mm,
specific house, and we lived in Louisville, and it just didn't really work out. Like we weren't big fans of the area, or like, and we came in COVID, and I didn't like the high school. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
So all I really had to do was go into my basement and play kendama,
Yeah.
and that was the best room to do it, like the rubbery floors. So
Yeah.
wow.
yeah,
I'm a
that room
big
was
fan of
awesome.
Louisville just because it made you lace these clips. I'm a
What?
big I'm a big fan of Louisville because you it made you like lace these clips. It gave you that environment.
It looks like such a
I'm a
Yeah.
big
good
fan.
spot. It looks like such a nice spot with the flooring and then also the lighting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Honestly, like I didn't even really realize how good the lighting was. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big room, and like no one was really using it. Like you can see, we had a little like step up table right there,
Yeah.
and
Right.
like minimal workout stuff. But other than that, it was just me in there, and I moved
Yeah.
that rug in there as well because
Hmm.
it was like I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah.
I love that
Dude,
spot.
that stump playing fast hands penguin. Okay. See that in my opinion, that's just not supposed to go in. That's just not supposed to go in, period. Ken was leaning to the right, aka just suboptimal. Okay. So you're looking to have the Ken optimally rotate towards the left so you can get that clean transition. It was rotating toward the right. You have to make that crazy save, and you not even I was like, he's going regular fast hand. You just went penguin. What inspired you? So I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna share my screen again, but let me just stop real quick. What inspired you to get so into these fast hand penguins? Because you're a master.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So D Westy, like a
Yeah.
thousand. I mean, he's like all time is like my favorite pro player
Yeah.
ever. And I remember like even when Mags was filming his edit, there is a trick where he does do that. But when it specifically can't like comes to the penguin part, like I just loved just the normal thing. But I realized over time, if the Tama is like in this position,
Hmm.
like kind of on the inside, it's so much easier just to slide your hand down. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Rather
Mm.
than like put it on and then bring it around. So there were times, especially like when I was filming then, that like I would even know what the ender was going to be until it came the time. Like if it was like this, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just do that. And if it was this, then I just do that. So
What?
yeah, it was interesting. But sometimes it just be easier to do the harder version for me.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
So,
it looks sick. I love ending that. Like
Yeah, it looks
just
boom.
based on your just grip, you just
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't. So if it's
So
more of like over the top, it's like regular. But if you caught it any other way, it's just
yeah, just like kind of like bringing it over. I just because if you already have to do that, there's no point in doing this unless obviously you're doing a trick where that's required. But
yeah.
yeah, so I just started doing that, and then I was
Wow.
like, this is sick.
Yeah.
But yeah,
easier said than done, I think. I know that. I think that's really cool. That's really cool insight. How you is that how you still operate? Like you don't like if you're ending a trick with that, you might go to a regular stun fast, and or it depends on like what the ball positions look like.
I definitely think that like nowadays, I definitely plan out a little bit more. I try to think a little bit more deeper on like the trick construction than I did then.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely plan, but like if I'm on stage or like if I'm just playing around and that is something that happens, I will just go ahead and do that because I think it looks cooler and like it's deemed harder than the
Yeah.
normal one. So I just go ahead and just do it, and I think it's sick. But
I
yeah.
mean, yeah. When I
Wow.
see a line that's end with that, like any of your lines that end with that, I'm just like, no, really? Like that's the ender after all of that.
Well,
Dude
thank you. I
dude has
appreciate
to
it.
redo this trick every time he misses the ender, and that's the ender. It's
Well, thank you.
it's incredible, dude.
Especially with the cushion stunt fast hand
Oh my God.
penguin enders too. I never I never can we actually go to one of those
We
clips?
can go one of
Yeah,
those clips
because
again.
I
Here we
didn't
go. We're
realize how
going back.
long ago you were doing those. And I've never
What
ever
do we,
really
which one?
tried
This
them.
one?
No, no,
No,
no.
no. This one?
Oh, I guess it's not. I guess
We
this
don't
is
have one
no,
ready.
this is
This we don't have one ready. We're
This
talking.
is this.
This one's insane. Let's go. Oh my.
okay. Maybe we were watching another clip later, but this one's also I mean, I'm pretty sure you were one of the first ones to do something like that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is actually a Ben Herold there at Battle at the Border. At least just like where you actually can I watch it one more time?
Yeah.
I'm
Just yeah,
forgetting.
this
Here it
part
is.
right here. Yeah.
Put it
Yeah,
in.
so we were at Battle at the Border, and I think we were all just like in that circle under one of the spotlights towards the back. And Ben Herold just like kind of dared it. And I was trying it out and like I was getting a feel for it. And then obviously I just started doing other things and doing event stuff. And then I remembered it. And I'm like, I definitely got to revisit this. So here
Mhm.
it is, my like fully landed trick of his idea. But
Yeah.
that was a fun one to do though. I thought it was super sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your tips on stunt fast? Because we have people asking us questions on Instagram. What are his tips on stunt fast? How does he do them? What's his technique? What tips can you give someone who's in the process of learning and getting more consistent?
Yeah. So in my like the steps that I do, I honestly I might stand up if
Oh
that's
yeah, do it,
okay.
please.
I gotta like really get a feel for it. So like oh I
Your
forgot
camp
that
wait,
this
wait,
like
is
this
your
thing
computer
moves.
tracking you?
Yeah, it does. I don't know
What?
why, but it's just an iPad. I think it's like the built-in thing,
Okay,
but
that's
that's
cool.
crazy. Um, but yeah, so basically, like
It just zoomed out.
it. Oh, did it?
No, no, it's good. It's good. Okay.
I think it moved up. Let me try this. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so basically, what I do is that I kind of build up, like if no one's ever really tried it, I build up the technique of just throwing the Ken straight up and
Mm.
lofty. And like once you get like that's like the main first step, just so it doesn't do a flip or contort weird, just getting it to like float up. And
Yep.
once that's down, um, everything else is in the Tama entirely.
Yep.
Um, so what I do is when like I get really low and then I throw it really high up, and then I look at the Tama, and however way the hole's moving, that's when I, move it around in my hand and then slowly bring it on and then complete it. Um,
Right.
so yeah, my biggest tips: learning how to throw it off like lofty and straight, and then learning how to look at the hole and then
Yep.
bring it onto the spike. And
Yep.
then obviously in this, I learned how if you're holding it like this, like if you do your juggle and it's like this, you can easily just kind of bring it over and then bring it down like that.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, so just lofty, getting really low and really
Yeah.
high, and then being gentle with it. Those are my
Mm.
biggest tips.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Giving
but
yourself the
yeah,
most amount of airtime by getting low and then lofting it up super high.
yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
And for those who are, and so Ben was also talking about how if you catch it and it's like you're basically imagine an airplane grip. So Ben was saying if you catch it in an airplane grip and you're like holding it like an airplane, you can easily rotate. It makes it way easier for rotation of your wrist to make it for that fast hands penguin if you're more advanced, you're looking to do that stuff. So which is opposite to really the optimal stunt plane fast hand grip, which is
yeah.
with the hole facing straight down like a regular stunt plane. You just put it on. So okay, yeah, thanks for sharing that. And for the loft, I I usually recommend players to like just practice 1.5 goes to lighthouse. How
Oh,
would you?
that's a good one.
Okay, what other tricks, if any, would you recommend for people to practice the loft?
I don't know. That might be the best one to be honest. Other than just going for it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Ghost Lighthouse is probably the perfect one for that. And then
Mhm.
I mean, I don't even know if I can add anything. I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for anybody learning stunt, what's like the first stunt fast trick you would recommend someone to go for? Just like the first one.
I think 1.5 juggle stunt fast is
Okay.
the best one. Like especially when I do like a slow motion like demonstration, like whenever someone asks for one, that's like the trick that I go for because I think it really represents how the tama rotates randomly, and then you could look at it and find your way to do it.
Mm.
Because sometimes like the tama isn't going to be in the exact perfect spot when you're doing like a long juggle line. Um,
Right.
so I think that's the easiest way to do it. And then it can set you up to get really low. Like when you're just doing like if you just did juggle stunt fast, then like you'd have to kind of start already low, just kind of
Yeah.
holding it, and then kind of come up and do it. So I think that's just it'll give like the most realistic
Hmm.
like way to practice it as if you copied and pasted it into a long line or something like that.
Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a highly requested tutorial of ours. So, and then people were asking like, yeah, how does Ben do it? So I'm like, okay, there's no better person
That's
to
awesome.
yeah than this dude. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
For so okay, so tribe announcement, July 2nd, 2021, grinding hard, and then your pro model comes out at the beginning of this year, and I see you have it with you,
Yeah.
which is great. Oh, am I still? Hold on, I'm not still screen sharing, right?
No, I don't think so. At least I can't see anything.
All right, cool. Yeah. So you're okay. So in the design of your pro mod, I thought it was really cool of how everything came about with that. So I'd love to talk about that. And it's great that you have your pro mod there with you that you can reference as well. So in your pro edit, Ben, you got announced at Battle at the Border this year, right? Like that was the
Yeah.
official announcement 2024. Okay, so you
Yeah.
went Tribe 2021, 2.5 years later, you get a pro mod. So in that video, great video shot by Mags, beautiful shots,
Oh, you
amazing,
killed it. You killed it.
absolutely incredible. And in that video, it shows you walking on a dock with like with a majority of the Coosa team behind you. It looked like a large, like
Oh,
just
it was a big chunk. Yeah.
yeah, a big squad. You're walking on the dock up to two of your pro mods. Was
Mhm.
that when you first got let know, like, hey, like this is your mod, it's finalized?
Yeah, yeah. So that was an amazing. I think Mag set that all up, and like obviously they all helped. Um, but yeah, so that was like the first two samples made were those two that were put on the dock,
Wow.
and we were all on our Idaho trip, um, and like I had absolutely no idea. Like it was executed perfectly.
Yeah.
And I know Jero sent me a photo of like what it looked like after being printed, and a very interesting thing. I don't know if you guys witnessed or like experience it when you design a kendama, but seeing like a design printed in like a sphere
Mhm.
was like super interesting to me. So I saw a
Yeah.
photo and like seeing
Yeah.
like that flat design, like in a sphere. I like I saw that and I that was like the first like little thing that I saw. And then after seeing a photo and seeing like what it was kind of looking like, we went on that trip and I thought like the samples were going to come in like a couple months or something like that.
Mhm.
And we were walking down the dock, and they were all trying to have me in the front, but I had absolutely no idea. Like I don't know how they all subconsciously got me in like the front of the pack for all that. So I was walking down on the dock, and then I kind of just see like on the dock like two little kendamas just like parked in the middle. I'm like, there's no way you guys just did that. And I saw it, and then obviously in the video, I'm just like, no way, this is it. Like I'm looking at it, and for the first time, it was my first time playing it and everything, and that was an amazing moment. I'm really glad that Max kept that in the video or put that in the middle of it. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was my first ever time seeing it in person.
It looked,
That's so
yeah, that's
cool.
such a cool moment if you captured on film. The
Oh,
whole perfect
perfect.
time to do that because yeah, the huge squad behind you, Mags in front of you filming, and what an amazing time. It looked amazing. So what was that trip actually? When was that? What were you guys doing? What was the purpose of all that whole trip?
Yeah, so it was last summer towards the end. And it was for Van Jam. It was for the Van Jam event. And we coordinated to rent out this house from a friend of ours who I think he rented it out to like the Future Friends group,
Yeah.
and a bunch of different people. His name's Dallas, so he like owns the house, or his family owns the house. So we coordinated all of us renting it out and staying there for like a couple weeks, and then we drive up to Vancouver and compete, and then that'd be it. Um, so that was like the reason we were there. We were all just trying to hang out and film a bunch of random stuff during that time period, and then we'd eventually go up to the competition. So yeah, that was basically what was going on there.
Wow. Okay. So it was a pretty lengthy, like how long was the trip?
It was pretty long. It was probably like 2 weeks or something like
Wow.
that, 2.5. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I think being there for so long was a really cool experience.
Yeah. That I mean, I remember seeing posts of it back then, and yeah, that 2023 summer, all acoustic guys out there at in Idaho, and I was like, what is going on? What is going on out there? They're just having a whole team meeting out there.
I
It
know.
looks so epic. Those are the best times, right? And you actually alluded to it in your video. You said, oh, well, actually in the Q&A video you did with Mags, like
Mhm.
there's such good times, just jet skis, all the times off camera, just making meals together, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that looked really, really incredible. For your pro model design process, you did touch on it. How was that for you? Was it fun for you? Was it a little more challenging than you thought? Take us through the process of what it really takes to design a pro mod because I'm sure a lot of people would love to know what goes behind it.
Oh yeah, it's probably the funnest thing I've ever done. I mean, it's awesome. And so basically, like you get called, and then you get asked to be pro and all that stuff.
Which real
And
quick,
that
when
was
did that happen for you?
Yeah, I was about to say that's a really cool story in itself.
Let's do it. Let's
Oh,
go. Yeah.
So basically, I was hanging out with my girlfriend, and I got a text from Mag saying that we were gonna like do a call, with the team and just talk about stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. Uh, and I was driving back, and I was on the FaceTime call, and the first person I saw was TJ Kolesnick, just like sitting there talking. I'm like, no way! Like I've never met him, and like he was obviously I watched him growing up and all that stuff. So I was like, this is crazy. So I started talking to him and stuff and everything, and then like Colin Sanders came in, and
No
I've
way.
I've hung out with him pretty frequently recently, at least. Like I have like a better built up relationship, but at that time I've never talked to him either. And then like Kenyatta came on, like it was like the whole pro team, like and like the older ones like TJ Kolesnick and Colin, but like the active pro team as well. So I was driving back, I'm like, this is crazy. And then I'm like on the interstate in traffic. And then eventually like Mags did his thing where he like leads up to it, and it's like, and we would like to ask, Ben on the pro team, and I'm just driving, and I'm like, no way, this is real, like, like this is crazy. And then I'm like driving as well, so I'm like struggling to drive and like also be have a meaningful like conversation about me getting asked. But
Wow.
it was crazy. I mean, it was so cool being able to, talk to all those people. And then obviously getting asked to be pro is probably one of the best feelings ever. So
Yeah.
that's what it was like when I got asked, which was
Yeah.
super crazy.
Wait,
Uh,
were you by yourself or with your girlfriend, you said?
I was by myself. I was
Okay.
at my girlfriend's house, but I was coming from there to my house, and then that's when
Oh,
like I realized. But yeah, it was crazy.
wow. To see all
Yeah,
those legends come up
Yeah.
in the Zoom.
I know. It was so cool. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
is wild." Like I've never had the opportunity to meet like half these people. So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And you got asked when was that?
It was probably like I think I wrote it down and then my whole phone got wiped like
Okay.
on half of it and I lost it. But it was probably like a little over a year from the point that my pro model released, or at least I got the samples. You know what I mean?
Wow,
It
okay.
was I think it was like a full year before that, maybe in November or something like that. I honestly think it might have been like the November time period. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, okay, so like November 2022, and then the ish, and then yeah. Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
honestly, yeah, that sounds about right. But that's yeah, it was crazy. I didn't
Was
think
it
it would
after
become
NACO 2022?
um
Because we filmed that doubles trick, the hippie flip one.
yeah, I don't know. It maybe was that
Okay.
like within that year.
All right.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I know I might have been around when I was filming 28 Tricks Later.
Hmm.
Uh, in that there I filmed at so many different houses, but it was in one of them that I was filming. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
so hard keeping track of these
Yeah.
dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but then you got asked, and then the official process of your design started.
Yeah, yeah. So it basically worked. Like, do you want to talk about how like I
Yeah, please,
designed it
everything.
basically? Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, like I had help from Kristen and Jero, and all three of us were, storming up ideas and getting designs and everything. And I was kind of setting a base for my for what I wanted. And basically, I knew from the get go I wanted an '80s inspired kendama.
Nice.
And from like even when I started playing kendama and like growing up, I've always wanted. I just loved the '80s period. And then obviously when I started playing kendama, I was like, if I ever, everyone thinks what pro model would they want to have, and it's always been an '80s kendama for me.
Mhm.
So I wanted it to be '80s, and I also was kind of inspired by Wyatt Bray's V2 mod, the black one. I don't know if you remember it, but it was just black and had white on the bottom, and I thought that
Oh,
was
yeah.
the
Yeah.
coolest thing ever. So I wanted that base. I wanted to be '80s, and that's all I knew
Yeah.
from the beginning. So over time, uh, me, Kristen, Jero, were talking about it, and then Kristen gave us a bunch of mock-ups, a bunch of just prints and designs of what she thought would be cool, like with my idea. And over time, I was just picking little points, like I want this on here, and I kind of want this here. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
eventually, I started building my kendama, and I loved. So this was from the first mock-up, the tracking dot. Again, it
Yep.
was just a huge list of Tama designs, and I found this design. I'm like, this is perfect. I love this. And then I found another design that had this on it, and then the light blue line, and I was like, this is perfect.
Yep.
But right here, it was actually the I don't know if you know like the '80s carpet designs where it just kind of has like squares and X's and little triangles, and it's like geometric carpet type. Do you know Edwin's mod? How it has
Yeah, 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 yeah,
those
yeah.
shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so exactly.
Oh, I see.
I
Okay.
did
Just
not want
got a
to.
picture. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't really want to come. Like, I didn't want to just put his design and slap it on mine. Which obviously we weren't like looking at his and then wanting to replicate that. It's
Yeah.
just I like just coincidentally that's what it was on.
Hmm.
So I obviously didn't want to do that. So I took it off. And I honestly, if Edwin's didn't have that, I would have put it on. But I had to push that to the side.
Yeah.
So she made this design like a little bit of like a dash design, and it was actually kind of wide. So I had that condensed, and then I had it all, it was pretty much all set there. And then it was different colors as well. And I'm a huge fan of like the Miami Vice TV show and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. So I took inspiration from that, and I know like the one of the main characters kind of wears these type of colors, and the main title card is the pink and blue
Yeah.
design. So it's like these kind of pastelly type colors with the '80s design, and like that was like what I wanted my color scheme to be. And
Mhm.
then to the Ken, um, I knew I wanted to do something for my grandpa. He has been like one of the biggest inspirations and most supportive people in my life. So he paints, and he or not him, but I put a little paintbrush for him.
Yeah,
It's like
nice.
it's a
That's
little bit
cool.
shiny, um, but it's a blue paintbrush that I did to kind of represent him on my kendama. So I thought that was sick, and it was really cool showing him that I put that there, and it was super. It was a really cool,
That's
like,
awesome.
meaningful moment.
Yeah.
And then this is similar to the dash design on the Tama that Kristen put.
Oh,
And then this is a little Stranger Things reference. It's an
okay.
upside down Konami Say logo. I knew I wanted to do this a really long time ago, and I was like, we're gonna do it. So I just flipped the Konami Say logo upside down, and had it be a little
Oh,
Stranger
wow.
Things reference.
Yeah.
And then the final thing was the seal. Ironically, it was another thing that I knew that I wanted. I just wanted like the like kind of cliche '80s sunset like
Mm.
design, and then just have
Yep.
Benny Boy go through it, and it came out perfect the first time. But yeah, so it was a lot of work. It was a lot of like, can we size this up a little bit and
Yeah.
minimize this, and kind of move it around, and then pick what I want and change the colors. And
Yep.
it took a really long time. Like it took over a year to do it, just designing, and then it takes even longer to get it made.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing experience, and it was amazing doing it. Having your like dreams and your like idea of what you want like come to life is pretty remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no kidding. And yeah, as everyone listening, yeah, he just said it takes a long time. It took him a year.
Yeah.
To perfect that to get all the designs from literally idea to production to actually real foldable kendama, at
Mm-hmm.
2024. It took over a year, which is really a good testament to, Kusa in general and the amount of work that you guys put in, which is amazing. The type of quality is hard to achieve and only achievable with hard work, and you guys obviously did that. So shout out you guys. And it came out amazing, dude. It looks really, really cool.
Thank
And
you so much. I appreciate it.
dude, yeah, it looks really awesome. And it's cool that that seal came out perfect. And then the art,
Yeah.
it sounded like you had these ideas for a bit. You like maybe not for your pro mod, maybe for your pro mod, or maybe not for pro mod, but just like ideas of what to do with different Damas.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Definitely like specifically with '80s stuff, but I also just love thinking like looking around and seeing designs and stuff. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, when it came to my pro model, I always knew I wanted the '80s sunset, something for my grandpa, and the upside down Kusa logo, and then
That's
'80s.
cool.
So it all worked out very well.
Yeah. I always hear people say like they always have known or had at least an idea of what they wanted to do for their pro models. And I always just think, dang, I don't think I did.
Yeah, I didn't
I
either.
don't think
Really,
I had no
really.
idea. Yeah. Yeah.
no.
I never had an idea of when I would
So when
go
we
off.
first, so I guess when we both went, first pro, it was just like, oh, what do we do now? It was just kind of like, what's gonna happen next? But
Really.
yeah, yeah. I guess for the champ, I guess for one design that I had, the champ mod, that was one I had in mind if it were to happen. And then yeah, but that was it. And then other ones were just random, on the spot. Uh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
Well,
watched
well, they weren't
you.
on the spot. They
They
took time.
they took well
Like,
they for sure took time, but it wasn't like I thought of it ever growing up. Okay, it's got to be this, got to be this. So I
yeah,
think it's cool that you had an idea set and planned, and then you made it come to life.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember me and I was gonna say it in the beginning, but me and Landon watched your guys' like documentary
Hmm.
like a ridiculous amount of times. I can't even like explain how many times we watched it, but like every time we played together, we play it like at least one time with like
Wow.
it was amazing. I think Landon loved it the most. Landon was
Well,
super hooked on that video.
yeah, I
But yeah.
appreciate that. No,
Awesome.
I always look back at that video and think just wow, so grateful to have something like that out there. I mean, Cooper really,
Cooper really
really
did
just did
good. Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was like 6 months of our lives in one video, just one. Yeah, it was cool.
That's crazy. That's awesome. I watched it so much, and learning about how you guys designed your kendama was pretty sick as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Hmm. No, for and in the on the box of your pro mod it says, yeah, it goes into a little bit of the 80s design, why you like it so much. And so it sounds like from childhood your mom was always putting on 80s music and movies.
Yeah, big time.
And in front in your pro model edit you is so cool. I love the fact that it starts out, you get the stereo, like the pocket
Yeah, it's a
stereo.
walk. It's a Walkman. It was just like a little portable cassette
Okay.
player. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so you get the Walkman and then you get the Rocky 4 soundtrack and then you get the
yeah,
headphones. I want to ask before I ask any more questions, I want to ask, do you actually do that? Like, is that something do you actually use that?
yeah. I do. I do.
Wow.
I specifically used that one for a while because like it was a refurbished one off of this brand called Retrospect, who refurbishes like super retro like tech.
Hmm.
Um, so I got it, and I've honestly, even before my like kendama designs, I knew I wanted a really cool like 80s video. So
Yeah.
like that was one of the aspects that I wanted to touch on, was having something like that. And I thought that really, like, I wanted to be super authentic, at least with
Right.
like what I was doing. Um, and like I could just do like, 80s stuff like randomly here and there, but I wanted to like kind of like dress the part and like
Mhm.
really put myself into it. So the Walkman was like a way that I tried to do that, and I loved listening to the thing. And then eventually they sell these Bluetooth ones that can hook up to your AirPods, and those are really cool to
Yeah.
play because I mean it's so much easier than like carrying it on your hip and like having the cord and like so I use the wireless one a little bit more frequently than that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was an amazing addition to your promo edit. That having that, then you like hooked it up and then just started playing. I was like, dude, this is actually the 80s. Like, this is
Well,
really
thank you.
cool.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And if I saw you walking around the campus with that. If I see a kid, if I'm in college, I see a kid walking around, like skating around on campus with that. I'm like, okay, he knows something I don't. So I don't know I don't even know what that is, but he's obviously listening to music. It looks cool, and I thought that was a really good addition to the video. For I guess this is more of I'm curious. What are some of your favorite 80s movies?
So my favorite one of all time is Back to the Future, the whole
Mm.
trilogy. And also, I will say it definitely inspired my pro edit significantly.
Wow.
Um, so the jean jacket that I'm wearing is a replica of Marty McFly's jean jacket from the
Mhm.
movie. Like
Wow.
every stitch is like perfect. So that was something that was really cool. And I tried to, dress a little bit like it, but I didn't want to like have a costume on. So it's like it's there, but not like a
Right.
complete
Right.
reimagining. And then also the skateboard that I had, they didn't make his skateboard at the time. Like they used to make like replicas of the old one by the same brand that made it back in the 80s. So I
Mhm.
bought a different skateboard, and that red one is like the same design or like same type of skateboard by the same brand, but it doesn't have the exact design. It's actually from Stranger Things. I think her name's Max, the girl from Stranger Things. She rides that skateboard, like the exact one, which I thought's pretty cool. Like just ironically. So I tried to get that and the jean jacket. Um, and then the shoes are super retro. So there's a bunch of that. But back to the movies. So Back to the Future, all three of them are phenomenal. I love the Karate Kid series. That's super sick. Um, I'm trying to think. I love all the Rocky movies. They're great.
Mhm.
I've watched a little bit of Miami Vice and trying to get it. Um, I only have it on CD, so I can only watch it like when I have access to a CD player or a
Yeah.
DVD player. So I watch that type of stuff. But other than that, like literally every 80s movie, it's kind of hard to recall all of the ones that
Mhm.
I like, but every like blockbuster 80s movie I've usually seen, like The Breakfast Club and all those
Breakfast Club is
types of
good. That
movies.
one's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love it. It's awesome. What about you? Do you guys have any 80s movies that you like or
Not,
can
not,
recall?
Oh,
I
the
didn't even
Breakfast
know. Yeah,
Club.
Breakfast Club
I've seen that.
we've definitely probably seen a couple 80s movies, but I couldn't give you one off the top of my head that I'm like, yep, that's an 80 movie that I've seen. No.
Yeah, yeah.
But Breakfast Club, now that you mentioned that, I've watched that more than a couple times. I think my parents have it on DVD, so we just put it in and
That's awesome.
yeah, so we just watch it sometimes. But no, I really love that you went in there and talking about the Martin McFly jacket, the skateboard, all these things, like the detail, the attention to detail of these
Yeah.
edits. I don't think they. I love that you're talking about it because it's one thing to shoot an edit with cool tricks, right?
Mhm.
Which is already nice. But to have to put that thought, to have that production, to like the theme and really stick with it and execute, I think that's really special and makes an edit just elevated that much higher.
Mhm.
So that's really cool to find out those little details about the edit because I don't know, I've never heard that before. I don't know if you've talked about it before. I'm sure you have in here and there, but that's really
Mhm.
cool that you just brought that up. I didn't even think about asking about that. That's
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, I honestly I thought so much more about the way that would look and like the aspects of it and the theme than I did anything else. Even the pro model, like
yeah.
I like all I thought about was the video, and I knew
Well,
Mags
nice.
would kill it. So like that's I mean, it came out perfectly. It was
Yeah.
super sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was perfect.
No, it came out amazing. And for so okay, yeah. So you go from repping Kusa 2020, getting on Try 2021, getting asked to be Pro 2022, Pro Mod announced 2024, this banger edit. What? So when you first started playing, Ben, I want to ask you, how big of a motivator was becoming sponsored in general? Were you ever playing because you wanted to, was sponsorship even on your mind in that first year that you were playing, that first 6 months?
Not really. Even like once I like did that live stream and like said I wanted to rep, I really didn't think there was any like any hope. And honestly, that wasn't really the drive for me anyway.
Mhm.
I just kind of wanted to build my. I just want to get better,
Yeah.
and I had fun doing it. Like I'm a player that just really likes filming tricks, and I
Mhm.
was back then. Like I just loved filming and posting. Like that was my favorite thing to do. So way back when, like starting off, like just filming myself landing tricks was the one of the most fun things to do. And I think through that passion, that's when opportunities started opening up. But yeah, just filming and posting were my favorite things to do in the beginning.
Mhm. Yeah.
So so that was just no correlation to sponsors, just like let's film, let's post whatever.
Um,
Like
yeah, yeah,
obviously you made that split decision to just kind of try repping a specific company at a certain point, but I mean it was more so just I mean you were literally filming more than I don't know 90% of Canal players at that point. I feel
thanks.
like when I became known of your Instagram and saw your clips, I was like, wow, new clip every single day.
I know
Yeah,
I pushed really hard there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I will say, like, it definitely was on my mind when it came to when I'm sure when you discovered me, because ironically, like in my opinion, I think that the more that you post is like the most impactful thing when it comes to getting sponsored.
Mhm.
Once I used to be super critical of myself with the tricks that I landed. I'm like, this isn't post worthy. This isn't good
Yeah,
enough.
we've all been
I
there.
got to go harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once I was like, screw that, I just posted every day and like whatever I got was sick. And like, even if it wasn't as perfect as I wanted or as clean, I didn't really care. So once I started doing that, that's when people started noticing me, not when I was being critical of myself, but when I just let myself
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Boom.
everyone listening right now, did you hear that?
Gem drop.
Did you hear that?
Gem drop.
Did you hear that? I mean, everybody listening, I've talked to so many people who have the same exact, thing. I've been through it. We've all been through it, being too hard on ourselves. Look
Mhm.
what happened. Hey, look what happened for Ben.
I know. It's awesome.
What happened for Ben? He let go of those high self expectations of himself, had fun, posted whatever he felt like during the day, whatever he got, and eventually just overall led to the overarching goal on the path, just granted him an
Not
opportunity.
even the goal.
Yep.
Sponsorship was a byproduct of the
It was
goal.
just a
It's like
byproduct.
Yep.
goal is post whatever I want, have fun, byproduct, boom. Konami say sponsorship, byproduct, boom, one of the main faces of the brand. Like, dude, let's go. I'm so happy you
It
freaking talked
just
about that.
happens.
And like the highlight again, Ben's not even thinking about sponsorship when he even started repping that. That could have been any company. Traven could have been on any team. Repping income, and you want me to start repping? I don't know. I almost have sweets right now, but like I don't know sweets, like and that could have been that, and whatever, It's so it's what an epic. I really like that you said that. So the goal wasn't ever fixated on, I want to be sponsored by X, and it wasn't ever you dropped the okay, I have to be this good. This trick has to be this good, this perfect. I'm just gonna do what I want, and it sounded like you had more fun that way, and
Mhm.
you ended up getting way more opportunities because of it.
Exactly. Yep.
Boom.
Exactly.
Boom. Boom. All right.
Boom. I know.
Flip
It
it,
was
flip that,
Flip
amazing.
post
that
it.
up, posting collab. Okay, it's
Flip
going
that
down.
post.
It's going down. And so, Ben, for going off what I just said, becoming one of the main faces of the brand, you search up Ben Bryant on YouTube. Ben Bryant can on YouTube now, and you see not just one, not just two, not just three, but actually quite a handful of edits, high quality edits on the strictly on the Konami USA channel. Okay. ATL vibes, your POV edit, 30-minute sessions, your pro mod video, tribe announcement video, etc. If because your journey, you've only played for 5 years. The Kusa journey, we just went over the timeline. It was all relatively quick, relatively.
Mhm.
If I were to tell you that this would be the reality of today, where you search a Ben Bryant Konami and that's what comes up on YouTube, these 8 till 5
Mhm.
slash Kusa pro mod video. If I were to tell you that when you first started playing, or I guess when you made that decision, like, oh, should I rep Trevor Kusa guys? Okay, I'm going.
Mhm.
What would your thoughts be? What would your thoughts
No,
be?
I would be in disbelief. I mean, again, when I went to my first event, like just meeting people, period, was already crazy as it was.
Yeah.
But even like, yeah, like all the accomplishments that I've managed and like been fortunate to have, I definitely would not have believed it. I never would
Mm.
have. I mean, even when I like said, like, oh, rep Kusa,
Yeah.
like I was just like, this is just fun. I'm just gonna play Konami, say Konami. Like I really didn't have like high expectations or like really can see it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it definitely way back when I wouldn't even believe it, really.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I think I can safely speak for you in the sense that you're definitely living a dream that you once used to have, starting out in Kendama and all this. And it's incredible for the journey so far. And, for someone who's been able to get to where you are in Kendama today, not only skill wise, but, influence wise, you are a pro for one of the most popular companies in Kendama. You've traveled to many events and competing at the pro level. What piece of advice would you give to other players who are in their first 2 years of Kendama, first year, 2 years of Kendama, and of, I guess, in relation to your journey? What advice would you give yourself in the first one you're in? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely will say not being critical. Again, we already talked about, but not being critical on yourself and not comparing yourself to others was something that really helped. Definitely, like when I played, like right before I started getting known, I was super critical on myself, and I was like, "This isn't good enough." And like, I remember, I know a lot of us used to do it or still do it, but like apologizing for not posting as often,
Classic.
like, like
Yes.
that, like that is not needed. Like you're good. You know what I mean? It's yeah. I feel like if you are super stressed about other people's like, if compared to yourself or your past tricks compared to yourself, it's just not the healthiest thing to be doing.
Right.
In that sense, at least if it becomes a negative and hinders on your playing. So that would definitely be the absolute biggest thing. And then if you do look into sponsorships or thinking about it, being consistent and just posting a bunch is another big thing that I would say. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
basically that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, I really like those tips, and we did go in depth on the tips that you recommended of not being critical, and I like what you brought up, that example of sorry for not posting, because I've seen a million in the
I know.
past year.
I swear I still have the urge sometimes. I really do. But I'm like, no, you're fine.
You're like, no, nobody actually cares.
Yeah, I'm
Everybody's
like,
just
I'm gonna
happy to see
post
you
it and like
post.
no one's gonna say anything, and I'm just like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, no one's being that critical on yourself. Like no one outside is looking at being like,
Oh,
what's going
no one's thinking,
like, yeah.
wow. No one's thinking, wow, this person really, really held back today. Or well, they're not playing up to
Yeah.
they're not playing up to their level at all. That was really bad for them. No one is actually hardcore thinking that. I mean, like no one's thinking that except for the person who's posting the trick, if they
Yep.
have that type of
Yeah.
relationship with posting. And
Mm.
definitely nobody's asking, definitely nobody's like, yeah, exactly. You don't need to say sorry to anybody for not posting for a long time. Everybody has, a life. Life happens. You might be feeling grinding and not lacing, and that's just what is happening right now. So
Mm.
yeah, so I really like those points that you made. Let's talk about Inama in your life right now. So right now you are a freshman, sophomore,
Sophomore Close sophomore.
You're a sophomore at University of Kentucky.
Hmm.
And so what is that? What was the transition like playing frequency wise from high school senior to college freshman? You're more experienced, you're second year in college, but
Hmm.
what was that transition like? Because I know from my experience, it definitely took more conscious thought to like play kendama. It wasn't
Hmm.
automatic like it was in high school.
Hmm. Yeah. So I remember like freshman year is a big switch in life period
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Right.
I will say like I already lived with a buddy for half a year, like away from my family. So I had a little bit of a head start on, not really being with your family and kind of being
Yeah.
alone. And like that's a struggle in itself. Like, like always living with your parents and not all of a sudden is a big
Hmm.
switch for a lot of people. But when it came to kendama, like I always found the time. And although like your time does get cut down and you got classes, and if you are a part of anything, like if you're a part of a fraternity or if you're a part of some clubs, it definitely that will take away some time, and definitely making what like room for kendama is something that I had to do. But I definitely made that my highest priority because I feel like there are a few people that like kendama kind of fades away when college comes around, and I really just wanted to like maintain my drive
Yeah.
and everything. Even with all the distractions of college, I still wanted like I'm like kendama through my whole life, through all the struggles that I've had, through all the moves, through all the opportunities I've gotten. It's like kendama did all this and I can't just forget about it. Like,
Right.
it's still a core part of my life, and even knowing it's not for other people and other people are can do whatever, I guess got to be like on my, I got to be locked in on it.
Yeah.
And I found the time, and I would go out and film uh, consistently, and I still do.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just finding the time and just still valuing it highly, even with all the distractions of Kanama was something that I found to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely college is a big switch, and
Mhm.
having like your whole life kind of change on you and still wanting to maintain kendama is something that a lot of people have to, figure out, especially from high school to college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt.
I think
What?
I think
Yeah.
well, I think I can definitely relate. I remember going through the same exact period of time, just those first couple of months going into college. I mean, like, and I personally forgot to play Kanama as much. I was playing every single
Mm-hmm.
day up until then, and then there would be a couple days on end where I wouldn't touch one. I'd be like, "Wait, what's going on? What
Mm-hmm.
we got Nako coming up. What are we doing here?" You know?
Yeah.
So, and then I guess it's kind of easy to forget. And once there's a lot of new opportunities and new experiences to be had in college, and especially your first year, your first couple of months, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to kind of forget exactly how much Kanama does for you on a day-to-day basis or maybe overall in life. So I'm glad you kind of realized, okay, this is something that has, really changed my entire life and really just changed how I live my day to day. So I'm going to keep some importance on it and keep prioritizing it. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really, really cool because, a lot of people they just kind of phase out and, teach do their own thing, but I'm glad you did not do that. I'm glad you're still in the game.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Speaking of playing frequency right now, so you said you still do out and film all the time. What is how many hours did you say you're playing per week?
I'm pretty consistent now. I will say, like, I did try to rush a fraternity for whatever,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that didn't work out. So I now I'm like even in the process, I'm like, this is going to hinder on my Kanama stuff and everything. Um, but now that it didn't work out, I have so much time for kendama now, and like although I was never in it, I now have realized the free time that I have
Yeah,
by
yeah,
not
yeah.
being in it. Like I feel like I didn't really realize how much free time I had to do kendama until I was starting to like do the rushing process and
Yeah.
realize how much time that does take away. And
Totally.
then I'm like, wow, I have so much time now. So I realized that and how much time I have to play with. But yeah, I play like in between my classes, and like I film almost every day still. Like I really do.
Go.
Although like my
Wow.
Instagram's lacking right now, there are projects that I work on. I still film
Nice.
all the time, every day, or at least as much as I can. And you have bad weather days and stuff, so it up and down, and events that will randomly happen. But I try to push playing it at least once a day and
Yeah,
filming
awesome.
every couple days. Yeah.
So what does that look like? Is it more, I mean, it depends on the day for sure, but maybe an average of hour a day?
It's hard to think. I mean, I really play a bunch still.
So probably more.
Probably, yeah.
Nice.
Probably more than freshman year. Honestly, no. It's been pretty consistent.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Probably like I would say like at least like 2 hours. At
Ah,
least.
that's so
Sweet.
cool.
Yeah, at least 2 hours. And like I'll count that with like I always like if I'm in the kitchen and I put something in the microwave, I'm playing, and like
Right.
if I'm in my room and I'm watching something, I'll play. Or if I'm cleaning my room and then I get distracted, then obviously I'm not cleaning my room and I'm playing instead. Um, but yeah, and then I'll film for a couple hours whenever I choose. So that'll
Um,
usually, yeah, it's usually a couple hours I've been
yeah,
trying to maintain.
respect.
Yeah,
That's so
that's
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
mad respect to that.
thanks.
That's awesome. Nick and I actually decided to we rushed to fraternity too. I don't know if a lot of people
I
know
didn't
this.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah, we rushed to fraternity too. And yeah, we from experience it does take a lot of time. So I believe yeah, I think it happened for you, dude. Yeah, I think it happened for you that I think they're the right path and you're playing a lot of Konami now and it's that's epic. So
Mhm.
I think that's awesome. I think also oh dude, I lost my train of thought there. I think oh, dude, it's literally on the tip of my head. I
I
yes.
do that. I do that way
How do
too
you
much, bro.
structure a Kanama session? This is something that a lot of people are really curious about because I think a lot of players are, especially ones who are kind of just in the first year, 2 years, something like this, or who generally, usually the players who generally want to get better, who really are prioritizing skill progression. I've heard them really talk about, okay, well, what should I do in a session? There's so many tricks to do, and what so many things I want to get better at, but how do I really allocate time? What do I allocate time to, and all this? So usually you play for 2 hours a day cumulatively, so maybe not all straight, but across
Mhm.
the day. Let's just, and you said you film every day. So what does that like look like for you? Warm up? Do you film for an X period of time, then cool down? What does that look like?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I'll be playing randomly, but I'll always just be either like hanging out or like sometimes in class. But I'll be watching edits and then eventually I'll like kind of create some sort of idea of a trick that I want to do. And I usually find it easier to make up a trick and then go into the session.
Yeah.
It definitely helps me at least because I could just sit there and just like do random stuff for like 30 minutes and be like, well, I have no idea what I want to do right now. You know what I mean? So I'll definitely like try to formulate something or be inspired by some cool trick that I see online. So I'll just skate out to wherever it is that I think's pretty sick. Um, and then I'll put on my GoPro and then I'll just start right there with the trick. I'll definitely try to like, I don't really go for tricks on my own time. Like if I have an idea for a trick, I won't like try to land it without the camera rolling. I'll just kind of like play with each segment of the trick. Like if there's the beginning part, I'll just like see if it's possible. And if there's the end, I'll see if it's possible. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go film. Let me put my GoPro on and get my first ever like actually going for it on camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I go into it with little bit of a game plan, and then I just film for a while, and then eventually if I get it, hooray. Um, but if I'm having a bunch of trouble on it, sometimes I'll either stop there, like if the vibes are off, or I'll try to like kind of tweak it, make it a
Yeah.
little bit easier, but like kind of maintain the structure of it,
Mhm.
and then hopefully I'll land it then. Or if like I run out of time or anything like that, then I'll just go do it another day. But yeah,
Okay.
there's a few different like ways that it can go.
Mhm.
But definitely, I always go into it with a plan, at least somewhat of a plan of what I want to try.
Yeah. And that's based on kind of what trick you're trying to film that day, what tricks like
Mm-hmm.
resonating with you. And so for a session, do you ever just go and film the entire time? Like, do you ever just have like these long film days still?
Yeah, yeah. If I'm like honestly like recently, like I've had one where I'll land a trick and then I'll still have a bunch of time and I'm like still kind of on that like adrenaline rush of like I still got time and what's better than one trick, two tricks. So
Yeah.
I'll go film my second trick on that high and if I get it, it's awesome. But if I don't, it's okay. But yeah, definitely like it's all like emotional and like kind of mood. Like I find that if you're struggling like not emotionally but like if the vibe's a little bit off
Hmm.
or if you're not really feeling it like sometimes that can translate through the video. I feel
No.
like and I just try to like if the vibes is the biggest deal to me at least. Like, because if you're happy, then usually you'll do better than if you're upset. Then it can
True.
sometimes hinder on it. Yeah. I will say I've definitely had like upsetting sessions, and like when tricks are really hard, it does like suck, but
Yeah.
it you got to weigh it out, if like you have that drive or not. It's a lot of emotions that you can experience when filming.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow, you are a filming veteran. You're dropping knowledge that a lot of people need to hear. You're not even thinking about just the trick, but the video, the vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really try to think about the video,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
primarily. Like I used to not really care, but I definitely really think about like what's going on, what's the lighting like, and
Right.
what's like kind of the mood that's gonna get translated through the video, even if it is POV.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's definitely things that you don't have to think about. It's just things that I do personally.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, those little extra things. Yeah, have you posting some of the most iconic Instagram clips, and then also, yeah, I mean, look at these edits you have. It's just, I literally just looked you up. Oh, I had you up earlier, but just edit, just high quality production after production, and I think, yeah, they're all just banger edits.
Oh, thank
You
you.
remind me of yeah, Dylan Westmoreland in the past, Konami USA Pro had some of those iconic edits for me, and then yeah, it just looks like you've kind of fallen up with that in a certain way, just producing high quality content for Konami, and it's incredible, man, truly.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate it. That's really nice of you to say. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What yeah, no, that's actually a really good comparison, Nick, because because he said Dylan.
That's crazy that that's what it comes to. Because I mean, he literally still is like one of the
Yeah.
biggest influences. Yeah.
Yeah. What about your string control though? Can we talk about that? I'm
Very good
sure
draw.
you got
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of questions about this. I know you've talked about here and there, but we have a lot of questions asking about your string control. You clearly love super long symmetrical juggle lines, and these
Yes.
lines are super long. They would usually a mixture of taps, Ken flips, and of course like a fast hand stump lane or
Hmm.
any fast hand really.
Hmm.
But the string, it's not common for players to go on lines that long and have the string not mess them up. So unless you're Takia or Yasu, really,
Hmm. Yeah.
honestly. So what are some ins? How much thought do you actually give to that? How much conscious thought are you giving to controlling the string during your tricks?
I will say, I feel like a lot of players when they get asked, especially I've like talked to Alex Mitchell and a few other people. Um, a lot of people do have trouble answering that question, and it's because a lot of people don't really think about it. So I don't really think about it, but I have found like things that I can't talk about, and I have talked about, and I will. But yeah, I feel like subconsciously, like I'm not really thinking about it,
Mhm.
and I think that's another reason why it could be hard for pros to answer that question, just because naturally when you have those string tangles, like just subconsciously, you're just figuring out ways of how not
Yep.
to do it, even if you don't even realize. Like if you just juggle for a really long period of time, eventually, like stuff will just start working out for you, even without you even knowing. But personally, what I have found, and I think Isaac, obviously, you guys know Isaac, but um, yeah, but he even noticed something that I did, and then me and like me and Evan or Evan just left Evo, but Evan and then Mags all kind of figured out that I like send my Tama up really high in when I do like Ken flips in certain parts of my tricks that have led to not having string tangles. But basically what I've realized is that like when I honestly let me try to stand up again, sorry.
Oh, they're good.
But what I've realized when I do juggles is having it in like two separate spaces really helps. Like, first of all, I mean, obviously you can have this where like they're in their own little lane. But when it comes to like Ken flips, I realized that when you send the tom up really high, you have all this slack obviously when it's close, but when you send it up high, all that slack is gone. So when you
Yeah.
go to do your Ken flips, there's less string to catch
Hmm.
on it. Like if you're doing a Ken flip right here, you have all that slack to get caught in it. But again, when you're setting your tom up super high, there's like barely anything to really catch. This camera's crazy.
This camera's zooming in, doing all the zooms.
But yeah, so that's my biggest thing is how the Tama needs to be separated from the Ken, and whenever you're doing stuff, it'll kind of figure itself out
Right. Yeah.
with those fundamentals in mind.
Right.
But yeah, that's the
You talk
biggest thing.
about you talk about you missing fundamentals with regular tricks, and you just called that these tips for being fundamental for juggles, I find it really hard for me to do exactly what you're saying because I think, and let me know if this is has a correlation, but when
Mhm.
I first started juggling, the string was super short, 2 to 4 fingers. And so
Mhm.
I thought, okay, well, in order to juggle, I have to be in this window here,
Oh
pitched
yeah, that's a
up.
good point.
And so now it's like I want to set my tama up higher and Ken flip and do these things like Ben and Yasu who have this incredible string control. But I just find that it's not just going to happen overnight. It takes a lot of
Mhm.
conscious effort because man, I've just been doing this for 10 years. Yeah, Ken flipping with all the string right there. So there's
Yeah, it's a really good point. That's a really good
yeah.
point.
So
Yeah.
so I think it's kind of yeah. I feel like yeah, you might have dodged some fundamentals in the beginning with other
Mhm.
tricks, but I mean, you and your juggling, it's
Worth it.
incredible. Yeah, worth it,
Worth
dude.
it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Worth it for sure. These are
Yeah, I
These
didn't
are
even think
fundamentals that people need to learn now. So yeah,
that. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that being a thing, like being trapped, like just subconsciously in that thing. Like,
yeah,
there's so much subconscious thought going into kendama, and the
yeah,
way that we have muscle memory and everything, and you can't even. It's just hard to change certain things,
it
Yeah,
really is.
like that. Yeah.
I can totally relate to you, and it's hard to explain what you think about because you aren't thinking, you're just doing. And when people
Hmm.
ask me, "How do you control a string?" It's like I don't know. The string's there for all of us. It's there to mess us all up. It can mess us all up,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know what I'm doing. I just maneuver the way I do, and it's really hard for me to explain it. But I'm happy that you found a way to kind of explain how you do it, even though it's just subconscious for you because I think it can help a lot of people because you obviously have some of the longest lines in kendama in the game in general. And yeah, like what you said, it's you're just subconsciously doing it. Like a bird doesn't think about flying; it just flies.
Yeah.
You're just controlling the string. You're not thinking about it, you're just
Uh-huh.
doing it. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just not to do. It's just so cool. So I think that's good to touch on as well. For you right now, Ben, outside of kendama, what else are you putting your time and focus into? Because we know you like soccer. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, tell us about it.
So definitely I've declined on the soccer thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like unfortunately when you grow up, it's so hard to get involved in soccer.
Mm,
Like I played futsal last year, but like that is the only thing that at our age group we can do that's not club or like some sort of officiated thing, which is
yeah.
unfortunate because I love soccer and I'd love to play. But I just can't do it because there's like not the organizations or stuff around me to do it.
Hmm. Oh,
So soccer's definitely declined. But I'm a really big fan of music, and I love playing the guitar, or at least trying to, with the
oh,
best of
cool.
my ability. So I'm really not that good, but I love it. Playing the guitar is sick, and I love listening to music and stuff like that. So I definitely spend some time on that. I definitely get my fair share of video games here and there.
Nice.
Landon, and a few of my roommates have like a Minecraft server that we've been cooking on. So I'll play that a
Wow.
bunch, and we'll do stuff like that. I like skating around as well, and honestly, the biggest thing that I put my energy in is obviously Kanala, but the video and editing and photography side of things, I've definitely really tried to crack down on.
Yeah.
I have the equipment now, and it's really time just for me to put a bunch of energy in that side of stuff. So I definitely behind the scenes work really hard on my video work and my photography work, and formulating stuff when it comes to that type of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah,
That is so cool. And I know that's where you're going to school for, right?
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
nice.
Cool. What kind of projects are like what you say you're doing a lot of work for that? What's like one project that you're currently doing to up your skill in that or get more experience?
Yeah, just I mean, honestly, it's just Kanama projects.
For
Just
sure.
find this thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
literally
nice.
just Kanama project. It's such a great tool to work on it, and
Yeah.
especially if that is something that fuels into your like kendama, like you know, like what is it called? I can't even think, but like your work of
Yeah.
kendama,
Mm.
like having. So I think since kendama is such a great tool, and I'm sure a lot of like the kendama filmers in the scene they've learned off of kendama. So I'm putting a bunch of my like filming knowledge into that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun though. It's sick. I will say I went on an out west trip with my family, so I filmed the whole thing, and I took a bunch of photos. So I was, I've been messing around with that type of stuff as well.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, so
Sweet.
there's a few opportunities for me to kind of work on my photography work with what I have.
For sure.
But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're just elevating your game in Kendama in a way that's not just tricks. You're making it look way better, way more appealing, more aesthetic. And it just goes so hand in hand with Kusa, dude. Like Kusa's production has always been top tier, literally since the day I started playing. I mean, you look at 2012 edits by Kusa, they're more high quality than 90% of the edits put out today, actually. Thanks to
Really?
Colin. So good. They're actually still better quality than 90% of the edits put out today, just point blank. It's really, really cool. And so Kusa has a beast team of people who film and edit, and you're joining the squad. You know,
Hmm.
you're honing that skill, which I think is so awesome. And I'm sure you've taken a lot of inspo from Mags. You guys seem to have an amazing relationship as well. And
Hmm.
I think that's really, really cool that you're working on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in there right now. Like I know Logan does a bunch of work. Like
Yeah.
Logan does stuff for his college and stuff like that, and I always see his videos, and they're awesome. And then Watts, of course, he does that. I think for his job. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of people that are really into videography on that team, and that's definitely where I found like my drive for video work and stuff like that. I think
Mhm.
it's being able to be like, I'm not really good at math and, specific like jobs, you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. So having a creative field like that isn't like legitimate art,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
like graphic design, but being able to be creative in it, that was just super appealing to me. And then through Kusa and through Mags, I found like my passion for it as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, no, Konami and filming definitely go hand in hand. Yeah, you nail it on the head. Like it's a perfect opportunity to hone your skills. So
Yeah.
you're only gonna get better and better, dude. I can't wait to see what you cook up, and it's
Thanks. I'm excited too. It's been a lot of work back here.
yeah, I bet. For moving on, I want to get to some questions before we run out of time. But I want to get to some questions from that are actually more directly related towards your play. So
Okay.
so C. Kelly Dama asks, how far ahead are you thinking during your spam lines?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one actually. Okay, I will say most of the time it's like just as it's happening,
Yep.
but there are times where I think of just the ender, and I'll do whatever I could do to get to that specific ender.
Mhm.
If it's a film trick, then obviously the whole thing is 100% coordinated in some sort of
Mhm.
way. I rarely like will post a trick that is just some random abundance of flips and stuff. Um, but like when it comes to me just like playing around or in freestyle, it's usually just as it's happening is when I
Yeah.
kind of think about what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's a
can
good
live with
question
that.
though.
Yeah.
I never
Usually
really thought
freestyle,
about
it's
that.
like you just kind of just you just think as you go. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. For trick composition in general, let's talk about when you're actually filming a trick. You said you go into film sessions with a plan. Now you're a little more
Mm-hmm.
calculated before a film session than you used to be.
Mm-hmm.
What goes into the thought process of your trick composition?
Um, Basically, it's a lot of like sandwich lines, I guess,
Mhm.
like the mirrored thing,
So give
from
us an
start to end.
example. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I mean, most of my tricks they have like a mirror effect. So like, let's say I got to think of a good example, like triple tap, juggle, triple eight, juggle, triple tap, uh, like juggle bird.
Hmm.
Obviously, I'll just do the exact same thing, like mirrored again, and then do a cool ender, or something like that. Or like I'll do a lot of 1 2 3 lines as well, some
Mm.
sort of like long juggle 1 2 3 line. Um, but there's a lot of times where it'll be like the first line of stuff, and then I'll have a single trick, and then a mirrored of it again. So like if the first trick was triple tap, and then there's completely different things in like from that point to the middle, I'll end with the triple tap and then just mirror the middle section. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Mm.
I'm really trying to explain it. It's kind of hard, but I do like the best way to explain it is I'll do the first segment of the trick and then mirror it on the backside with a dividing trick in the middle.
Hmm.
I
Okay,
don't
I
know if
think I
that
have a
makes
good
sense. I
example.
don't
I
know if
think
you want it like
Yeah.
Do you think I should re-explain that or
No, no,
like
no, no. I have
try
a
to
good example
formulate?
actually of what you're talking about. So
Okay,
I think what you're talking about is okay, let's say you do three tap juggle, two tap juggle, one tap, juggle triple can flip, and then the last part of the line is jug one, jug two, jug three,
exactly,
jug go
exactly.
some fast penguin.
Yep, boom, there you go.
So so yeah,
Perfect.
3-2-1, 3-2-1 divider, 1-2-3 ender. Something like
Yes.
but like obviously that's yeah, then you take that concept to any way you want.
Yeah,
So
that's perfect. That was a really good way to do it.
so yeah, I mean, it looks great and it's a beautiful. It's yeah, and those lines are long, dude. Those lines are so long. That's why they're so freaking long. Because you do like a three-piece line to start, have a middle, and it's like even when you're watching, even when I'm watching, I'm like, no way he's doing that again. But I just know it's coming. I just, but I'm
Yeah.
like, there's no way he goes back. Okay, he just went back into the whole thing again. That was literally 25 seconds long. So
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah, that was yeah, no, okay, so yeah, good, nice mirror composition.
Yeah.
Difficult, but worth it. It looks really
Yes, worth it, especially when you land it. It's like,
yeah.
hey,
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we've already touched on developing your own style. I mean, you can go in more in depth if you like, but I mean, we did talk about, DUSD, mags, having some influence on how you came up. But, I guess what you could actually answer for us is what made you get on the Stunt Fast Train? You did mention DUSD, but I mean, you had mags lines in there, and before we knew it, became something of your own. When do you think that actually happened? I know it's been tough to kind of recall dates, but kind of like a timeline, yeah, time period.
yeah. I'll say like first of all, like when I watched a lot of the videos with that type of stuff, I wasn't good enough to even really try it. I just
Mhm.
loved watching it, and I didn't even really have an understanding of what I was even looking at. Like
Yeah,
if like I saw a trick that I did now, I'd have to sit there and like analyze like how did he combine this, or
yeah,
is this just a random thing that I'm looking at? But once I gained that understanding, I could kind of see what they were doing.
Mhm.
But then when Mags's video came out, Mags was when his edit came out, it was like super influential for me. That was the first time I really looked into like video stuff like that because it was
Wow.
super phenomenal with how the video work was. And like I mean like watching the video for the first time like was super like it kind of like lit a fire in me like just watching it. And
Yeah.
especially being in Kusa, I could play as pro model and like kind of you know have momentum off of watching his video. But I remember his specific edit, the pro edit, is what got me to like try those tricks out a lot more
Hmm.
than I used to. Like there's one specific trick. I think it was like pull up, or it was like swing up penguin fast, and then it was three triple Ken flips, and then the stunt fast thing, and that was like on his pro model specifically had a really nice like rattle when he spiked it. Like it
Yeah.
was if you ever like listen to the way that his pro model spiked, like it was the coolest thing ever. And I think just like that whole like his style and all that, and then
Yeah.
specifically that trick, that's what kind of got me to do that specific maneuver at the end of all my tricks almost. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mags, yeah, Mags is a. I could see Mags, Dwesty, Wyatt, and all of them in your play style, and now it's literally just the Ben play style. So
that's awesome. That's amazing.
I see everyone, all of those guys in, and now it's like, oh, what is this play style? It's not. It's just you.
It's
It's
just
you now.
Ben.
You've adapted and added your own flair, and now it's just the Ben Bryan play style. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the other question, I mean, I think this is a obvious answer, but I'd like to hear it. Are you looking? This is from Theodore Fiorino, Tio.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, are you looking to use Konami to enrich yourself culturally and travel in the future?
Yeah, I definitely want to travel through Kendama a bunch if that's what that's
Hmm.
particularly
Yeah.
asking. Um, yeah, I really want to go to Japan, like really bad. So hopefully one day I can do that. And I know, like mostly every trip that I've or no, literally every trip I've gone on by myself has been because of Kendama.
Yeah.
So Kendama is going to be like the primary source of any trip or traveling I do. Like I've never been to Canada before, and for the Van
Mhm.
Jam, I went there for the first time, and like a lot of the states that I've gone to, I've never even gone to if it wasn't
Yeah.
for Kendama.
Yeah.
Um, but I'd love to go. I'd love to go see EKC, and I'd love to go to Japan, um, and all those things. It's
Mhm.
just finding the time and having an ability to do that is all it takes other than that. But yeah,
Yep, yep, yep.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd love to see you in I'd love to see you in Japan,
I see
man.
it in your
I
future.
would. Thank you. I'd love to. My gosh. I mean, I get, I don't get jealous, but I'm like, please, next
Yeah,
year, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But because I've
totally.
never been, and I've only like gone out of the country like for Mexico and the Bahamas, and that's it. So being able to like really go far out and
Yeah.
completely, that's going to be such a cool experience. I know it will.
Yeah,
But yeah.
especially for, it's I'd say it's life-changing for Konami players. It's really, really cool to see.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course, like the level of Konami over there is amazing to see, but everything, the culture, the different world you're in, you literally, I remember my first time in Japan, I was spending my first couple hours in Japan just on the train and the subway, and I finally got out and I like got onto the streets. I was like, oh, I'm on a different planet. That's cool. It's so,
Mhm.
I think it's a really awesome experience for anybody to have. And I think, dude, I see it. I definitely see it in your near future. I just know it's gonna happen. What event would you like to go to more? EKC or KWC?
I'll probably say KWC just because
Mhm.
it's specifically Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had my eye out for Japan like since like forever. And
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go there. Now both are amazing, and I'm sure are completely different than the experience it's
Yeah.
like here in America. And just I mean, going that far away and experiencing that is both equally amazing.
Yeah.
But I've always watched the videos, the Japan trips. I'm sure you guys have as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Of course.
That definitely is a huge motivator for me to
Yeah.
go. Is seeing those videos, like just being like,
Yeah.
1 year I'll be out
You,
there.
you've got some of the best Japan videos ever recorded on the Konami USA channel.
Oh, I
Literally
know
some
they're
of the best
amazing.
videos of all time.
They're
So,
amazing.
yeah.
Konami
Yeah.
USA 2012 tour bonus footage. It's 2 hours long. That's the best Japan video ever made.
I
Awesome.
love. I There's one specific one. I think it's like, ironically, like the thumbnail is Dylan. I
Oh,
don't know if it's like
2017.
2017. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my
That
personal
one's so
favorite.
good. That
Really?
one's super good.
Yeah, I remember Logan. I think Logan's in that one, and
Yep.
Wyatt and
Gavin's in there.
Gavin.
It's
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yours is there too.
Yeah, yours too.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
So
Yeah.
I love that one a bunch.
You can tell we've seen it.
Yeah. We just named it every single player in that
It
video
opens up it opens
from
up with like a
7 years
train.
ago.
Yeah, it does open up on a trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm sure we'll see you out at one of these international competitions soon enough, Ben. I think it'd be awesome to have you out there. And
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
it'd be
I'd love to go. I love to
yeah.
go.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking for quite a bit now. It's been an amazing conversation, Ben. We really appreciate you on with us and giving us your time. I think people are really going to enjoy this one, knowing a little bit more about you and
Awesome.
and
Well,
about Konami.
I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. I mean, it's really cool you guys going out of your way to do this and then like learn about some stuff before even coming on the call. I really appreciate it, and I can tell that you guys, you did a great job. You did a great job, and it was really nice talking to you guys, and I love the things that we covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a great experience. I love talking to you guys.
Heck
You
yeah.
you dropped the knowledge
Yeah,
bombs.
you're dropping
Thank you
knowledge
very
bombs.
much.
Boom,
I
boom, boom,
try.
boom,
We're
boom.
gonna have to we're gonna have to really clip some of those. I think some of what
I
you
think some
said
of those
is
are
so
actually,
important.
yeah.
So hope people watch this whole thing, but we're gonna get some of the best parts up on Instagram. So
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I struggle with talking half the time, so I really hope
No,
I
it was good.
explained
I enjoyed
as well
talking
as
to
I
you,
could.
man. Yeah.
perfect. Very good.
And right before we end off, I want to ask you, where can people find you? And then what's next for you, just in life and in Dom in general?
Where they can find me,
Like Instagram.
Not
Not
Instagram.
like actual address,
I mean,
but
fuck yeah,
I'm
obviously.
about to get my I'm about to get my address. I'm kidding.
yeah, what's your address,
Um,
man?
yeah, I mean Instagram, honestly. Um, Instagram and YouTube. And then what's next? Minnesota's next, I'd
Perfect.
say.
Yes.
And AKO, I will be there.
All
Are
right.
you guys going there? You're
Yeah,
Of
going,
yeah,
right?
course.
yeah.
Oh
Take a
yeah.
spot.
Take
I'll
it
be
to
excited to
yourself.
see you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, so I'm really excited for Minnesota. I've only gone one other time, not last year, but the year before. So it's still such a cool one to go to since
Yeah.
I have like minimal experience at it. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited for that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome to see you out there, dude. I can't wait.
You in the freestyle?
Awesome. Yeah, I did. I did. I signed up. So I'm excited. I love freestyle so much.
Yeah. It's
Can't
gonna be
wait.
great to see you compete.
Yeah,
go.
thanks. I've been trying my hardest. I got to practice a bunch before.
Yeah.
Hey, you're practicing for freestyle every time you go out and play. And
About to say, yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
that's
thank you.
yeah. All right, Ben. Well, thanks again. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
See you guys.
Peace.